One of the most painful things that you can ever go through after being discarded by an avoidant, which is extremely painful in itself, is when the avoidant X immediately rebounds, or if they jump right back onto dating apps. Now, it's painful enough to be discarded. It really is. But that rebound relationship they jump into takes the pain to a whole new level. Before we get started, hit like, subscribe. Come join my new YouTube channel. You might know me from TikTok and Instagram, and now we're on YouTube as well. Anyway, let's get going. The avoidant probably promised you the world when they love bombed you. They probably told you that you were their person, that nobody had ever made them feel this way, that you made them feel things that they had never felt before, and you felt such a strong connection, a connection like no other. The chemistry, the romance, it was like a movie. It was like a romance novel. It was on fire. You felt like you had really met your person, and the relationship was going well. It was going so well, in fact. You probably were even making future plans together. And then all of a sudden, when things seem like they couldn't be going any better, you get absolutely blindsided. You start getting vague excuses, often by text. I can't give you what you need. I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. You deserve to be loved by someone who can love you the way you deserve to be loved. Work is so stressful right now. I just need to focus on that. I'm just not ready for a relationship. You're the right person, but it's just the wrong time, etc., etc., etc. And it really, really hurts because you're blindsided. You didn't see it coming. The rug was pulled from under your feet. And then they told you that they needed time and space to be alone and heal. I just need some time and space to heal myself. And you take them at their word. And then immediately, they're already in a new relationship. They are already love bombing somebody else. And it hurts so badly because it feels like you never meant a thing to this person. It's like somebody punched you in the gut and ripped out your heart and stomped on it all at the same time. How could they do this? How could they be telling you that you were their person and then immediately discard you and go on to someone new? Well, understand that avoidance at their core, they avoid. And one of the main things that they avoid is emotional intimacy. This comes from a deeply rooted fear of abandonment and rejection that comes from childhood, where they were emotionally neglected by caretakers and parents. They did not have their emotional needs met. And this caused them to feel unlovable and have a low self-esteem, and they carry that through to adulthood. This fear of emotional intimacy, even though they're love bombing you and telling you all these things, they never actually allow that deep bond to form with you. They never let the feelings grow to a deep love. They keep the feelings surface level only. They don't let it grow because they prevent that. There's a castle wall, and you may think you're on the inside, but you're actually on the outside. Now, the avoidant, they have learned to suppress their emotions. They bottle it up. They bottle up the emotions throughout their whole life. They suppress them. So in the beginning of the relationship, there's dopamine flowing, there's oxytocin, the feel-good chemicals in the brain. They're feeling good, and they're letting it flow out and pour on you, all these bottled up emotions. But that's when it's the shared fantasy. It's not real yet. When the relationship begins to get real, when there's actual emotional intimacy starting to form, and they realize that you're actually getting close and they're going to have to let you in, that's when their fears are triggered. That's when they shut down. That's when their avoidant fears put them into deactivation mode. Deactivation mode is when they shut down. A brick wall pops up inside themselves and they block off access to their own feelings for you. That's why they can suddenly get cold and show no empathy, because they've suppressed those feelings. And they convince themselves that, well, they just need time and space. But their low self-esteem, their lack of self-worth, they have a deep need for validation because they don't feel good about themselves. They need that dopamine to make them feel good about themselves. So they immediately jump into a new relation to get the validation, to get the dopamine, to make themselves feel better about themselves in the moment. But it only makes themselves feel better about themselves in the moment. Then they start to feel worse about themselves because of their behavior. But the thing is, they repeat the cycle over and over again, and they keep on seeking the harmful behavior as the way to cure their bad feelings about themselves. Now, the new relationship also helps the avoidant avoid. They don't want to face the painful emotions of the breakup. They don't want to face the fact that they hurt you, and they definitely don't want to take accountability for it. That's too painful. They definitely don't want to self-reflect on what they did to you. And they don't want to face their problems at their past and their childhood either. So the new rebound relationship, it gives them the dopamine, which numbs the pain. And it also keeps them busy, which distracts them. It is a method of avoidance. They don't have to face the things that they don't want to face because they're distracted and feeling good in the new relationship. So it hurts because you feel like you never meant anything to them. Well, here's the thing. This person has not allowed themselves to get to the point where anybody can truly have a deep meaning to them because they don't allow the emotional intimacy to form. They just don't let it get there. They avoid it. So while the relationship felt so real and so deep and at such a commitment and such a passionate love from you, it was real for you. It never was real for the avoidant in the way that it was real for you. They simply never let it get to that point. And this is a defense mechanism because as a child, the avoidant learned that anybody that you rely on for your emotional needs is ultimately going to abandon and reject you and disappoint you. So they learn that they can only rely on themselves for their emotional needs. This causes them to fear emotional intimacy because if you get to know the real them, if they let you in behind the castle wall, you are going to realize that they are in fact unlovable and you're going to reject and abandon them. So the avoidant feels that it's safer to do the rejection and the abandoning themselves. But here's the kicker. When they discard you, they are not rejecting you. They're actually rejecting themselves as not good enough for you. But they still need that validation so badly. They need the external validation. They don't know how to do the internal validation. So they seek it from new partners. They often monkey branch. Monkey branching is when you swing from one tree to the next, one limb to the next, but not letting go of the previous limb until you have a new limb in hand. That is a term for serial dating. People that monkey branch. One relationship to the next, swinging from one to one. And that is a reflection of the person that's doing the monkey branching. It is not a reflection of the person being discarded. Healthy people do not discard partners. Healthy people don't do that. And healthy people definitely don't discard a partner that they told was the love of their life, that they told was their person, that they told they had a deep bond with, and then immediately jump into a new relationship. If a relationship ends with the person that you really truly have those feelings for, a healthy person would have no desire to jump into a new relationship. A truly emotionally healthy person would want the time and space to heal from that breakup before even entertaining new options. So when the avoidant does this, they're actually showing you just how emotionally unhealthy they are. They're showing you. They're showing you that they're unhealed, that they have unhealed attachment wounds. They have unhealed traumas. And it's important to understand you didn't cause any of it. You didn't cause any of it. And they're discarding you. The rebound, none of it. Absolutely none of it is a reflection of you, and it is a reflection on them. It's a reflection of them, their unhealed wounds and traumas, and their character. Because keep in mind, this behavior is still a choice. Nobody's putting a gun to their head and forcing them to discard you. Nobody's putting a gun to their head and forcing them to jump into a new relationship. Nobody's putting a gun to their head and forcing them to hurt you. This kind of behavior is extremely selfish and hurtful, and it absolutely is a choice. Because the avoidant, they had a basket of options in front of them. They could have gone about this in many other ways, including communicating with you, working through their traumas, healing, doing therapy. But no, they reached into that basket of options and they picked out discarding and they picked out rebounding. They picked that out. Those are choices, and they're very selfish choices because when they're doing this, they're only thinking of themselves. They are only thinking of their immediate feelings and what it is that they want in that moment. They're not thinking of you. They're not thinking of the impact it has on you, and they're certainly not thinking of how crushing it is to your self-esteem to be discarded like that and to see them jump into the arms of somebody else so quickly. They're not thinking of that at all. And they're also not thinking of you when they're love bombing you, because most avoidants at some level know that they have a tendency to shut down and self-sabotage good relationships. They may gaslight themselves and try to convince themselves that it's just because it's the wrong person, not them. But they know they do this, and they still choose to jump into relationships, love bomb, and then discard. It's a choice. It's a very selfish choice, because they're only thinking about their immediate feelings, the validation and the fears. That's it. They're thinking of themselves. It's nothing you did. And recognize that it's nothing you did, because if you're blaming yourself for this, if you're blaming yourself for their behavior, you are deepening your pain. When you're discarded by the avoidant, there's a fork in the road. You can either go down the path of shortening the duration of your suffering, or you can go down the path of prolonging the suffering. If you're blaming yourself for their behavior, you are prolonging your suffering. Remind yourself, you never would have done this to them. You never would have hurt them in the manner they hurt you. You absolutely wouldn't have done that, and you do deserve somebody who will treat you the same in return. Don't sell yourself short. You didn't deserve this. You wouldn't have done it to them, and it's not a reflection of you. I promise you it's not.